Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us do the editorial analysis for today, that is 20th October 2022. The first article is Situation in Kashmir, an analysis, the murders most foul, that is the article name. Today, if you analyze the situation in Kashmir, the attacks on Kashmiri Pandits are increasing again. Along with this, the migrants and government officials are the targets of radical elements. This is the playbook which was played before and they are doing it again. When the life is in danger, obviously state has to take the situation into control. Then forces will come and they will be placed. Human rights violations etc. are being raised. The voice becomes vociferous and local resentment is raised. Anti-India sentiments are being raised. So this is a vicious cycle these radical elements trying to play with us. So we shall not fall into that particular trap. This has to be answered through the people by making them to own the governance. Remember, radicalization is possible in a resentful environment. The fringe elements, militant elements wanted to radicalize the local youth. In the process, they want to take the state high-handedness as a reason for that. The state high-handedness can be invited with harassment of the people, breakdown of the law and order. So India shall be very careful about this particular thing. Second is, the political vacuum exists. Democracy is an important answer for the problems of a particular region. Because of democracy, people will own the governance over there. But today what happened? There is a lot of political vacuum. National Security Act was applied on the political leadership in Kashmir. They are kept on house arrest, continuous house arrest. Restrictions still apply against them. So this political vacuum will be more and more occupied by these fringe, radical, militant elements. So that's why making the democracy to do its magic is important need of the hour. Second is, India shall not take security-centric approach towards Kashmir. Any kind of security-centric approach will lead to human rights violations, will make people resentful against Indian state, and which is not good for winning the hearts of the people. So, remember back the Vajpayee words, Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat, and then Kashmiriyat. These three things will make a big difference. Democracy, humanity, and then Kashmiri identity. These make a big difference for the Kashmiris to win the hearts of the Kashmiris. So make the people to be actively involved with governance. A new lease of life for climate action. What the life stands over here? The Lifestyle for Environment Mission. This is given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Beautiful thing. The Lifestyle for Environment Mission. In this article, we also need to understand a word that is called as climate justice. So, the life mission, it talks about simple lifestyle changes in all our lives to make ourselves planet friendly. Simple thing. If you are using a car, change to the public transport. If you are using a public transport, change to bicycle and start washing your clothes. So these kind of small lifestyle changes and a positive behavior to create a safe planet for all is the objective of Lifestyle for Environment Mission. And second, according to United Nations Environment Program, 2/3 of the greenhouse gases, they come from this kind of excessive consumption, household consumption. So we are the major contributors for that. Next is climate justice. Let us try to understand this. Today, I'll give you two statistics to explain this. Today, a person living in developed country, how much is the carbon he is releasing, which we call it as carbon footprint. And in a poor country, how much he is releasing if he is compared, at least 80 times more is being released by the person living in the developed country. And second, most of the accumulated greenhouse gases were released during the industrialization era. These belong to the Europe and America. And third important thing, talk about climate inequality. Let us understand this. In the top rich 1% of the population, they consume more than 50% of the world's poor population. So this is climate injustice which is prevailing today. From there we have to move towards climate justice. Climate justice talks about polluter shall pay principle, and second, whatever the remaining climate space available before we reach to 1.5 degrees rise of temperature, whatever the remaining carbon space, the people who did not use it has to get their share, due share, fair share. That is what we call as climate justice. So the word we learnt is climate justice. So this article is more and more emphasizing on climate justice. So the climate injustice coming from man's greed. We need to remember Mahatma Gandhi words over here. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. That's what we need to remember. The next, the politics of madrasa survey. UP has started madrasa survey. Uttarakhand, Assam, they're also talking in support of it. Do you think an average middle class Muslim family wants to send a child to madrasa? Or what is their preference? If you carefully observe, why the children are being sent to madrasa? Because of poverty. The middle class among the Muslims are also aspirational. They want to have formal employable education to their children. As it has become expensive to them, that's where they are going to madrasas. So how much is the percentage that are going to madrasas? 3% among the school going children are going to madrasas. Here madrasas are different, maktabs are different. The children who are getting the formal education, if they are getting the religious education in neighborhood schools, those schools are called maktas. Madrasas, the children going there will not be going to the formal education. So there are two views onto this. Let us modernize the madrasas and then integrate these madrasas into formal education system slowly. If you close down the madrasas, on the other hand, there is a recommendation that these have to be closed down. If you close down madrasas, obviously, whatever the avenues of education which are available for these poor are no more available. So the government has to provide necessary scholarships to the children to get the formal education, and then slowly, gradually, modernizing the madrasas is also an important step which has to be undertaken. Next is, the next CJI will have longest tenure in the last decade. Now, whenever we talk about judiciary, we make one point. What is that? The tenure of the Chief Justice of India is very low. That is the reason why the judicial reforms are not quick and continuous. Any reform, if it has to be rooted and completed, what is necessary? A strong leadership is necessary, impetus is necessary. That's why stability is said to be the mother of reform. So any reform, if it has to happen, it also needs stability of the leadership. In this case, in this decade, Mr. Chandrachud, Justice Chandrachud is going to be the longest serving Chief Justice. His father is the longest served Chief Justice. Now Justice Chandrachud is going to become the longest serving Chief Justice in this decade. Next, I have collected certain current affairs in a nutshell to explain you. Tamilnadu has launched a mission to save vultures. What is vulture? Vulture is critically endangered. You know Red Data book? So in this Red Data book, it has been classified as critically endangered. Do you know why it got critically endangered? So these vultures are scavengers. They feed on dead animals. For foot and mouth disease of the animals, certain medicines are being given, NSAIDs are being given. So these NSAIDs finally led to the damage of the vultures. That is also stated one reason for the loss of vulture life. Now, they are natural scavengers. So they are critically endangered species, vultures are. Remember that particular point. NSAIDs means anti-inflammatory drugs. Next is fast emerging. India is fast emerging as Web3 ecosystem. So what is Web3? Can be a question for you in your prelims. What is Web3? And next is Center to promote destination in 15 states as part of Swadeshi Darshan. So the Swadeshi Darshan is a tourism promotion activity launched by Ministry of Tourism. Under this financial support, 100% financial support will be given to the states. Center seeks views on credit framework. So National Credit Framework is been brought as part of National Education Policy. Today, if I join engineering, I have to continue as an engineer to get the degree. Now, after 1 year, if I leave the engineering education, join somewhere else, then obviously I will be shown as someone who did not graduate. Instead of that, let us think about an alternative system. Whatever the subjects I studied, I got certain credits. From engineering, I moved to some other subject or some other discipline, photography. So I get few more credits in photography. Some other skill-based job I went to, skill-based training I went to. I may get certain credits over there. So it means whatever the education I have consumed will get due recognition in the credit system. It will not be tagged to the final degree which you are going to get. So that's where your credits are going to recognize what all the skills which you have and what all you have knowledge about. So the national education policy brings flexibility in the education system through these credits. That is, national credit framework is being launched. Now, plus one advantage. Remember one point. UN Chief Guterres, Antonio Guterres, is visiting India to launch this life mission. So he made one important statement which we can use by quoting his name: nurture diversity by condemning hate speech unequivocally. So diversity is a richness that makes India stronger. These are the statements. So in our Unity in Diversity chapter, in our polity hate speech related things in freedom of speech and expression, we can add this point towards answer enrichment. And the next is, we have data points. The trade imbalance, it means we are importing more from China compared to its exports. The trade imbalance has crossed $1 trillion. To show the magnanimity of the problem, we can quote this number as an example. So these are the articles for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.